You're listening to the Gulag Podcast with Narrowminds and Jay Stuns.
Two things are going to be going on today. We're going to talk about this. Look it, guys, like somebody passed away again, but this time it's for different reasons and not from COVID. Chadwick Boseman passed away at the age of 43 due to colon cancer, which, by the way, impressively enough, he was going through surgeries and chemotherapy while filming all these movies that we're about to talk about. And I know everybody says, "Hey, you know what? He was a Black Panther. You know, that's his major role." But Jay importantly pointed out a thing that he had so many other roles that were number one, not only important to his career, but they're also important to his story,
society itself,
and society itself, because he did speak volumes when he was doing Jackie Robinson, which a lot of you don't even recognize the fact that he did do that as a movie. What was the name of that movie?
The name of the movie was 42. He played Jackie Robinson in 42, and in that, you legitimately felt the pain that Jackie Robinson felt being segregated in baseball, to the abuse he would take going into hotels, and how the hotel owners wouldn't allow them to stay there because he was a black athlete, or how restaurants wouldn't even allow them inside because he was a black athlete. There's so much pain in the character that he played in that movie that you wouldn't even be able to imagine what Jackie Robinson himself felt in that time.
So I mean, yeah, like, it's just so crazy because everybody's like, Wakanda forever, and I get it, right? That was his major. Like, everybody has their own niche or whatever that's made them what they are.
Role.
Right, their defining role.
Black Panther was his.
Black Panther was his. But a lot of you guys don't realize, if it wasn't for another black actor, Chadwick Boseman would never have started acting at all. And the reason is Denzel Washington actually paid his scholarship for acting school when he was young. And in fact, he talked about it in his speech. And if I can find that speech, I will play that speech for you guys. But he did mention when they were awarding Denzel Washington a excellence award, he was the one presenting, and he said in the speech that if it wasn't for Denzel Washington, he would have never started acting. He would have never got into acting. And he would have never had the money to pay for the scholarship, because it is a lot of work. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of actors, a lot of people who are going into acting, they start off in like Broadway plays and whatever before they start acting, and it costs money. Like, it's not free. It's not a free show to go into acting. Not everybody just gets picked off the street or goes off the internet, becomes an internet sensation, and starts acting. A lot of people do a lot of hard work and do plays and things to get themselves into acting. So
every actor has a launching point, and that's another actor in there that they've witnessed do their craft and be like, you know what, I want to be like that. You had Chadwick Boseman, who was inspired by Denzel Washington. I'm sure Denzel was inspired by somebody else. No matter who you are, what you do, you were inspired by somebody else to do it. Even in real life, your father or your grandfather or whatever could have been a sanitation worker, but you know what? That was your family thing. Your father was a sanitation worker because of your grandfather, and sometimes you want to follow in the footsteps of your father and do the same thing. Or it could be owning a restaurant. Your father owned a restaurant, so you want to own a restaurant. There's always inspiration to do what you want to do. So even in gaming, you could look at somebody like Ninja and be like, oh, I want to be like Ninja. There you go. You're gonna play Fortnite, you're going to practice gaming, and you're going to try to reach the level that he's at because he was your inspiration to do what you want to do.
And that's the thing is I don't understand, like, we get so focused on the money part. Like people don't understand. These people, a lot of these people that become successful didn't even focus on the money. Because if you do whatever you want to do for the rest of your life, the money will come with it. Right? Whatever advantages comes with it. But if you're not happy, like I see so many people that they go to work every day, right? You can tell they're unhappy. They don't want to be there. Throughout my whole careers and whatever jobs I did, there There were so many people that did that. They would come to work and you look fucking miserable. You did. And then you see these people that, you know what? They're not making the most money in the world, but they're freaking happy. And I realized throughout my lifespan that that's what you got to do. I think Gary Vee said it the best. It's like, you know what? Fuck the money. The money's gonna be there no matter what. It's whatever's gonna make you happy. If you're not happy doing whatever you're doing, then stop doing it. You're gonna live in a life of misery, and when it comes time and you're on your deathbed, you're gonna be sitting there talking about all the shit you wish you could do. And he even says right there in one of his talks, he goes, "Hey, do you want to be the person saying I wish I did, or you want to be the person saying that you did shit?" And I want to be the person that says I did shit. That's why I do all this shit. That's why when you see me going hard into, like, you're like wondering, Narrow, why do you putting yourself into YouTube and all this? Dude, I'm going hard 110% in everything that I can get myself into. Podcasts, YouTube. By the way, if you guys are not able to listen to this whole thing later on, you will be able to listen to this on Anchor FM as well as Spotify. And we're working out a deal with Apple, so we can get it on iTunes too, so you can listen to podcasts later on if you missed something or you had to go somewhere or whatever, you had to turn it off for a second. But yeah, I mean, like that's honestly, like, if you want to learn anything from that guy and what he did and what he actually meant, is to go do shit that you love, man. I mean, he wasn't I don't think he was ever expecting to be where he was, or the Black Panther. You don't ever expect that shit in life. Right?
I mean, even if you take the Black Panther out of the equation, right? You take old Marvel out of the equation. You look at the roles he did, right? He played Jackie Robinson, an important historical figure. Right. He played James Brown in the movie Get On Up, another historical figure. He played Thurgood Marshall in the movie Marshall, about the first ever African American Supreme Court justice, another important figure. He played a character named Vontae Mack in a movie called Draft Day with Kevin Costner, where Kevin Costner was the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, and he had to run the draft for, Cleveland, draft the players that he wanted to, and he had in his gut who he wanted to draft, and the person was Vontae Mack. And the reason Vontae Mack played as hard as he did, and he wanted to become a number one pick, was to take care of his family, because his sister had passed away, and he wanted the money he could to take care of her sons and his family for the rest of their life. So every role he played, one way or another, had some sort of a family aspect or an importance to it. And if you look at, there's some people that when they do movies, they do like a waste character or whatever. From what I could see with this guy, every role this guy took had some sort of importance to it, whether it was a family aspect or a historical figure aspect. He was always, he's probably got one of the most impressive resumes I've seen as far as movies wise.
And I know, and he doesn't get the credit, like, everybody always says Black Panther. But I mean, now that you've heard of these other movies, go look at these other movies and see what else he's done.
Because the guy was on a soap opera, for Christ's sake. He was on All My Children. He was on a soap opera in 1970. Yeah, dude was a legit soap opera guy.
Yeah, well, that's why I said a lot of people, they start off from doing like plays on like Broadway and stuff to doing like soap operas and doing like sitcoms and television stuff, and then they go into the movie stuff. So which is interesting. I mean, like, comparatively here in the U.S., that dream that we sell people about how the Hollywood hit could be in an instant like that, like you or anybody else can be a Hollywood hit in an instant. It's a lot of BS. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it, and your ego, if you have a big ego, is gonna crack in that. I'm just letting you know, because I auditioned. I did some commercial work, and I auditioned for stuff, and auditions are like, dude, when I used to go into auditions, they have all the craft services and everything there, and they give you your script, and then you have to read over the script, but there's not a lot of guidance in any of that stuff. I remember my agent at that time got me all these stupid commercial auditions, and they tell me, oh yeah, well, we want you. That's why I do all these different accents, is because they want you to have a different accent for this. They want you to say it this way. It's really interesting, and it's like that all over the world, because I've seen other people audition in other parts of the world, and it's like it's not easy. It's not easy, and it will break your ego.
So I'll even do you one better with Chadwick Boseman. All right, he produced or co-produced or executively produced 6 films, right? They might not have been full films, but they were short films or whatever.
Okay.
He produced one way or another 6 films, right? He wrote and produced. No, I'm sorry. He directed and produced a movie called Heaven, and he directed, produced, and wrote the short film Blood Over a Broken Pond. So this dude wasn't only an actor; he did literally everything there was.
Screenplay. Yeah, a lot of people who enjoy that craft, and I give you guys credit because like I'll be honest with you, I wanna write a screenplay and write a movie, script to a movie like that. It is a lot of time. My manager does that. My agent that does all my stuff, he does that stuff, and that's where I met him. Was over there when I used to work for TV stations. They used to send us to L.A. And I give you guys credit because that writing that you guys have to do to write a backstory, to write the individual characters to the T, because you have to be specific. Like every time I ever got in a script, it was always specific. What they want, what they were looking for, what your background story is. To write all that stuff out and to do those things and actually make a short movie, because I've done a couple short movies where we've made them and filmed in LA. I give you guys credit because those were like 18-hour work days, and I was just doing a couple scenes in that thing. To do that stuff over and over, that's freaking amazing. Like the amount of work that you guys don't realize when you go to these film festivals or whatever, the amount of work that has to go in, and they're not making the box office $1 billion things on there. And in fact, it's interesting. I was watching. I got an email for something my agent sent me. Netflix is looking for writers to do their next couple of movies. So if you're interested in writing, they literally, these people, Netflix is so interested in getting the new fresh perspective on like people's takes on things, that they're willing to they're paying you to they're gonna pay for you to go with these script writers, write down your ideas, and they'll write it out on a script for you, because it is hard. That's how hard it is to write a script, is that they're gonna help you write the script and the background story for everybody, because that's how hard it is. It's not an easy task. It's not something that is easy by any means, and like I said, I give you guys full credit. I mean, I used to complain when I used to sit out there doing these movies and have to read the script over and over and just sit there for like 18 hours until your scene's ready or whatever. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of hours. Your call time, shit. My call times were like 6 a.m. and we wouldn't get done till like 10 at night. So it's a real interesting take. If you've never been in a in the entertainment industry, it's a lot of work to do all these things. And the same thing, when you're a streamer, you think this shit's easy at all to do any of this stuff. This is a lot of work. There's a lot of background work that Jay Stuns does to do those Friday night custom games. There's a lot of work to do and produce these podcasts. So if you think in any way, shape, or form that this stuff is easy or any way, I gave you full privilege to come in here and try to do the stuff that we do, because this is not easy. A lot of video editing, my YouTube stuff, that's hours, and I will show you're gonna. By the way, new vlogs coming out real soon. I think by tonight it'll be up. I'm showing what time I've actually been editing at like 4 a.m, still editing videos. So it's a real interesting thing, because that guy did work really hard and was filming. I know one of the things he was filming the end game between surgeries and chemotherapy. And if you guys have never had anybody in your family that's had cancer, I've had several people.
Not fun.
It is not fun. Chemotherapy is not fun. The surgeries are not fun, and the overall process of watching him try to recover from this is not fun. This man went through all that, plus was still filming the end game at that time. Filmed several movies during his whole project, because I think he's had cancer for like 4 years or 6 years.
I think it was 2016, if I remember.
So he's had cancer for a while, and he's been battling it, and he was yet. Through all that stuff, he was still he was still filming.
I will tell you this: anybody that hasn't, you owe it. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to, if you're a fan of Chadwick Boseman, you owe it to yourself to check out Get On Up, 42, and Draft Day. And if you even want to go a little step further, Gods of Egypt. He was in that one as well, and I believe his name was Thoth in that one. Those 4 movies, you want to check those out because those are amazing movies. Don't get me wrong, Draft Day might be a little bit boring because it's about the NFL and being a a general manager and drafting and blah 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 and all that stuff. But the roles that Chadwick Boseman plays in all 4 of those movies are absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, we all know he was amazing in the Marvel movies, whether it was Civil War, being introduced as the Black Panther, or Infinity War, or Endgame, or the Black Panther movie itself. All that. You owe it to yourself to check out these other movies, even if you're just doing it for him. If he was somebody that touched your life in a big way, you owe it to yourself to check out these movies.
And and I'm sure in the African American community, that was a big thing for them, because you didn't like necessarily see that being especially in the superhero category. We have to admit, in the superhero category, we've been limited to so many things, right? We've had Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, Wonder Woman. Then we started getting creative. We started doing Aquaman and all
Black
that
Adam.
stuff. Yeah, Green Lantern. I mean,
Shazam.
That's why we get it. It's important historically, because it was the first person of color to be officially kind of put into that Marvel world.
Soon after with DC, they came out with Black Lightning.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting thing, and I get why it's so impactful to people that happened, and it's a sad thing. Don't get me wrong, it's a very sad thing. Just going through that whole ordeal, and I got to give him credit, like to be in that kind of situation. And still be able to film stuff, and I'm pretty sure he did some of his stunts on all those
Probably.
Marvel movies, right?
Yeah, probably. And I will say that I know a lot of people that after they get chemo, they are exhausted,
Oh yeah,
beyond tired, mentally, physically, emotionally drained.
yep.
And this man basically said, "Screw it, I'm going to work," even feeling like complete caca. The man went to work and did his thing. You know what? Rest in peace, my man. Rest in peace. That's all I'm saying.
And the weird thing is a lot of people didn't even know.
I didn't even know. Like when I forgot what we were playing. It might have been Customs. I don't even remember.
Yeah, we were playing Customs. That's when.
And somebody was like, "Oh, Chadwick Boseman." I'm like, "Get the hell out of here!" Like, no, he really. I'm like, and I looked it up and see he died of colon cancer. I'm like, no way. And apparently he had it from 2016. I didn't know. As far as I knew, he was just a healthy actor. I didn't know nothing. But that's
I mean, that's the impact though. That's the thing. You'll never know. That's one of the weird mysteries, and I posted something about that. It's about we could sit there and make all the judgment calls we want in life and hope we did the right thing, but we'll never ever know if we're actually doing the right thing. That's why whatever in your heart makes you fucking happy, go do that shit. Like that's the thing I don't understand. Is so many people choose their wealth over their happiness and their health, and I to this day I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Why you would choose wealth and yeah, I get it, whatever, right? But do you really need all that fancy shit? Because when they bury your ass 6 feet under,
you're poor.
You don't look at this guy. What's this dude's name? This guru guy, Sandu. Anyways, I watch his stuff on YouTube. He made a very good point. We go into this world with absolutely nothing, right? There's zero investment when you come in this world. So all this shit, all this money, all these fancy cars, and all these watches and shit and these houses that you get. At the end of the day, when it's time to go, and hey, I hate to break it to you, right? I wish, well, I don't know. The world's kind of sinking itself in a hole right now, but a part of me wishes to see the rest of to see the rest of life until until whenever. But the reality of it is that we're not going to be here forever, and all that shit you've ever collected, that don't mean shit. That don't mean shit. If you're materialistic and that's what your thought is you just want the biggest house and the biggest fucking car and the biggest plane. It's all gonna
You need to rearrange your life.
Yeah, you really do. You need to rearrange your priorities. Because if you're not doing shit that makes you happy, right? And do shit to keep yourself, especially through these trying times, like this COVID-19 has really, really messed with people's mental health. Because a lot of you guys have been isolated. A lot of you guys have all that stuff that was normal to us, like going out to a bar, or going out to a restaurant and hanging out with people. It's all gone. I mean, people
I fell victim to it.
Yeah, it's happened to everybody. Where you
I went too far. I was losing my mind.
Yeah, it happens to everybody, and and there's nothing wrong with it. It happens. It's called isolation. That's why when jails want to mess with you, right? When you're in prison, they isolate you. Because if you want the biggest thing to ever mess with your mental health is to be isolated. But we got to take this time, because I call this personally a reality check. It's a reality check that we were doing way too much, right? And all of our priorities as a human race were all screwed up. And you can disagree with me and tell me that it's wrong, but I think this is a reality check for us to start realizing what's important around you. And if those things like cars and whatever, dude, like, it's cool to have, right? It's cool to have the nicest car. It's cool to have the biggest house or whatever. But at the end of the day, when it's time to go and that plug's going to get pulled, you can't take that stuff. No one's going to bury you in a house.
You're going to live your life with no substance.
Exactly. If you don't go try new shit every day, like, I have problems with people that tell me that they're scared to go do shit. Like, what is your biggest fear? The fear of failure?
No.
The fear of failure? What is your biggest fear? The fear? Who cares if you failed? One opinion counts in your life, and that's your own. Dude, like, I don't get why so many people are worried about people's opinions on, like, social media. Because you're a big believer of this, Jay. Fuck everybody.
You know what it is? It's not only just fuck everybody. It's people that believe they have more power than they actually do. Like, I get it. Celebrities, musicians, sports stars, all these people are sitting there sending political messages over Twitter saying, if you're a fan of mine, vote for this person, or if you vote for this person, you're not right. Stand with me. You're a human being just like everybody else. Your money and your career got to your head. I'll tell you right now, me, Narrow, anybody in this chat right now, we are no different than Taylor Swift. We are no different than LeBron James. They may have more skill in certain things than we do, but we are no different. So you have no right to push your political views on anybody. And you can't sit there and say, if you're a fan of mine, vote for this person, because you're taking away people's free will. By saying, because there are people dumb enough out there who'll be like, if I don't vote for this person, that means I'm not a fan of LeBron James. Or if I don't do this, I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. Stop being a fucking moron. Live your own life. Make your own choices. Doesn't matter who you vote for politically. I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Biden. I don't care what kind of supporter you are. If you're my friend, you're my friend. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what your political views are, because, frankly, I'm tired of it. But we are no different than any sports star or celebrity out there. That's the bottom line. Everybody's a human being when they're born. Everybody's a human being when they die.
That's true.
What, because you get buried in a fancier casket, you think that gives you the right to say anything? Nah.
It's true.
You still go into the same ground we do. That's it.
Exactly, and that's the thing I don't understand. And the thing I don't understand is people need to stop fearing for shit that they think they're gonna fail in. You guys got to put yourself out of the box. Take yourself out of this. We've already been put in the box for so long. How many months has it been? It's been like what, 7 months, 8 months
least.
now. You guys got to take yourself out of the box. Put yourself in a situation that makes you.
It had to be around February, maybe
Yeah.
beginning of March that everything happened. Yeah.
Even before that, it was like the first week of February.
Yep.
Shit started going down already, right? You guys have been put in a box for so long, right? And you're telling me because you don't have a job, because of this, because I heard all sorts of this shit these last couple months. I'm drinking because I don't got a job. I'm depressed because I don't got this. But people before you have made it through bigger things, the fucking Great Depression, the Spanish flu. They got out of that adverse and created all the stuff we have today. So if you're telling me that you guys are because of this, because of that, then you're only fooling yourself. There's so many opportunities that you can create for yourself that you could do. That's why, good example, Narrow. Why is Narrow going to YouTube so hard? Because I want to open myself up to different avenues and make it so that if, let's say, Twitch doesn't exist tomorrow, we have another avenue to put ourselves into. And it's not like I'm streaming on YouTube, but I'm putting I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket, because if something fails tomorrow, right? That's why Narrow put himself into this podcast. If you want to know why we went so hard into this podcast, that's exactly why. Is because I don't want to put my eggs all in one basket. This podcast can be sustainable on Spotify, Anchor FM, which you guys will be able to listen to it on there, and pretty soon on iTunes. So I want you guys to realize that this not because I want to stretch myself thin, which is, is just one of the byproducts of what's happening. Yeah, I'm editing till like 4 or 5 in the morning. Yeah, like tonight, I'm gonna take this podcast and I had to retranslate it into Anchor FM so that people can listen to it on there, and then they're gonna retranslate it to Spotify. But the reason that we do that is because when shit like this happens, and tragedies happens, and companies close, companies can't sustain themselves anymore, we got another way to make money. We got another way to make money, and if you guys don't realize that, wow, David unfriended you. That's messed up. You see that? I just saw that in chat.
That's fine.
Damn, David, that's messed up, man. That is messed up. But I mean, that's the thing, is you guys, instead of us feeling sorry for ourselves, which can only take us so far, we got to start taking ourselves and start reinventing what it is that you want to do, what it is. And if you think it's stopping here, it's not. There's going to be once we can start traveling again, there's going to be a long hiatus of Narrow on Twitch, because Narrow's going to start traveling and doing vlogs from abroad. That is the plan.
I think the last thing I'm going to say about Chadwick Boseman is, I don't think he would want his lasting thing to be Wakanda forever. I think if you look at everything he's done, I think his line would probably be passion forever.
It is.
Everything he did, he had his passion in. So I will never. I don't. I mean, if you want to say Wakanda forever, fine. I get it. But you really, when it comes to Chadwick Boseman, you should be saying passion forever, because that's what he was. The dude was passionate about everything he did.
It's true. It is true. It is true. If there's anything you can learn from him is I think he did what he loved every day of his life, up until the end. So that's, if there's one thing you could ever do in life, is just do what it is you love. Don't do it because you know. And I get it. You need money to live. I got you. And sometimes you have to do things that are not in your with what you want to do, just to make money, and I get that. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you gotta stop making yourself unhappy with all that shit. You can only do that shit for so long, and you gotta if there's something that you really wanted to go do, I would go do it. I would go do it.